see. How did this project begin?
I don't know. You want me to say that?
I think it's such a sweet, I mean, we can both talk about
Yeah.
it. Like, you know, so we met, I guess, when we were working on your record together, and then we went on tour with Chris Bodie together, and we became friends, and we played with Chris, and then you also played in some of my shows. We
Right.
just played together in other
Right.
contexts. We became friends. And then, I mean, is it right? Like, didn't it start with first in New York at Paste Studios? Wasn't that the first time that
Yeah.
you and I like
Right.
played
Yeah.
alone? Like,
Because they couldn't feed the whole band.
yeah.
And so I
So
remember you asked me, like, will you be fine playing the tunes by yourself? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And then
yeah,
we did it.
like,
And we liked that.
yeah, I was on the road. I had a bunch of shows on the East Coast, and Leo and my whole band at the time, we were all out, and then we got this sort of last minute request to go do a set at Paste Studios in New York, which is this really cool online, they do like, it's kind of like Tiny Desk. They do these like little intimate concerts in this little room,
Right.
and they couldn't fit, at the time I had like a string quintet and piano, and they didn't have a piano, and they didn't have room for everybody. And I think wasn't it just like the day before that I asked you? I was like, what if it's just the two of us? Like, can we just do a set, just the two of us? And we had never done it before.
No.
And
I know, yeah, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
I think
that
that
was
you're
the
right.
first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was really chill.
That we
a great
played
time.
just the two of us. Yes.
Yeah, and then it was so much fun, and I feel like after that we were both just like, like, that was really enjoyable. Like, what else could we do together? And then
Yeah.
this particular project kind of started. Leo and I basically just made plans to hang out, right? Like, we were just like, oh, that was really fun. We should like jam sometime.
Yeah, you came to my place. You came here, I remember, a few times, and then we just play songs, and we started doing all those videos that people can find on YouTube. That we actually, that's a funny story. You want to say that?
You tell.
Well, we got together, and then we jammed on, or we chose a song that could be a song that we both knew, but in some cases we also did songs that we didn't know very well. I remember some of the songs you probably were reading the lyrics on your iPhone or something.
God.
I mean,
we did a song in Portuguese. I couldn't memorize that.
So we made an arrangement, and on the same day we made an rehearsal, made a little arrangement, and then recorded and on video, and then posted. It was cool. And
it became like a little challenge where we just decided, like, can we do this in an afternoon? Can we meet up in the afternoon, not knowing what song to do? We would both kind of play songs that we liked.
Right.
We also have like we have overlapping taste in music, but we also have different taste in music. So we would both just play each other's songs. I mean, there were so many songs I played you, and you were like, I do not like this song.
No, it's not that I like everything you show me, but it's like, although we have the same taste for music, we come from different backgrounds, and you know a lot of music that I don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess I also know a lot of music you never heard.
Yeah.
Because of that different, the way we grew up, And so that's interesting because you show me things that I thought, wow, that's beautiful. Never heard that,
Me too.
And then I showed you some Brazilian songs, and you were like, oh, it's.
I learned so much from you. Yeah.
I'm learned from you too. I mean, it's a nice collaboration, I think.
Yeah.
It
was really fun. So to be like, we're going to meet up in the afternoon. We'll choose a song, arrange it, learn it, and then record it with one microphone live, audio and video live at the same time, and then put it out on the internet by that evening.
Yeah.
And we did like, how many? I think we did like seven or eight.
Yeah, something like that.
That way. just for fun. I mean, we
Yeah,
really at the time we weren't really thinking.
but
We were just having a
we
good
had,
time.
but we had a lot of fun. I mean, we laughed a lot.
Yeah,
It was we spent the whole day sometimes here,
yeah.
like really the whole day.
It's hard. Music is hard.
Right?
It's hard, but
No,
it
no.
was
But
fun. And
I mean, we spent the whole day like eating or just doing other stuff. You know, like having a drink or
we
just talking
also
about
ate.
life.
Yes.
And then we did that. That was really a nice journey. I think
Yeah.
we really enjoy that.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
uh, and I remember people asking me and probably asking you too. After we put all those videos out, there were tons of people saying like, "You guys should do something.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just it's just that. It's just
Into the
video for
album.
you
Into the
too.
album.
You should make a record. You know." And I have good friends, producers, and I guess of course you do too. But some of my friends that are really great producers, they were like, "There's something special in there. You should do something like you should record something together." And you know, there's a gimmick in there that is really special, and we thought about it too. But it's
Yeah.
very hard sometimes when you're in something, you know, you have your head in, you can't really see it with distance, and other people can. So
Yeah.
they had it really clear. They said really should record a CD together, you know, and then yeah, then we did.
And we did. And we kind of recorded our CD like in that same style. I mean,
Yeah,
our performances are super live. We were right next to each other, you
yeah,
know, didn't have like separation recording wise. We weren't like in ISO booths or laying our own part down
right.
separately. We were together,
Yeah, in the same room,
little,
in the
and
same tiny room,
yeah,
which is the
and like
best. It's
very little
risky,
editing.
but
It was
yeah.
very, very, very live.
But you can't do any overdubs. I don't know if everybody's in this Instagram live are musicians, but for the ones that are not, an overdub is when you do a recording and then you add things or fix things
Yeah.
that were maybe not that correct. So that's overdub. We didn't do any of those because we couldn't. Well, first of all, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to have like a live uh, vibe, but also we were in the same
Yeah.
room. So if I made a mistake or you made a mistake, we have to do the whole thing again.
Yeah. We screwed it up for everybody.
But I love that. You know, I think that creates also a vibe and an energy while you're doing that. That is
Yeah.
like in the old days. In the old days, they recorded that way. You know, everybody in the same room. I think it's great. I love that. I mean, it was
That
a great
vibe.
experience.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. I mean, yeah, that old school thing. Yeah,
because
agreed.
you do something and you know you can fix it later. It's a different mindset.
Yeah, then you're like, I mean, especially for vocals, but I mean for instrumentals too, then you're just sort of like comping every line, like
Yeah,
trying to get each word or trying to
right,
get each phrase and
right,
just like, oh, we'll just do that and cut it and do that and cut it and like, I don't know. It's hard to keep in mind the whole arc of a
right,
story or the whole arc
right.
of a song when you're just like, you
Totally.
know, hey, now I'm going to hit that note. Now I'm going to get that shift, or now you're going to do that.
Yeah, it's
This
it's it's.
is what you
I
do,
mean,
right?
it's the way music is done pretty much nowadays. But
Yeah.
I think I'm happy that we did it that way
Yeah.
because it's very human and very honest.
Yeah.
This is what it is. That's what we did at that
Yeah.
spot. Nothing else than that, right? It's like, so it's yeah, it's cool. I think everybody should listen to the record.
Cool. Let's see. How did we decide what to play? And then there was oh, someone else asked, how did you pick the songs and were there any that were left off? When I saw this question, I was like, we left so many songs off.
Right.
We have like a whole nother record. We have
Oh
like
yeah,
another record and a half
yeah,
of material.
absolutely.
Like it was crazy we just decided on like 10 was a nice number and we were like, okay, 10. But at that point we have so many songs that we've arranged and that we play together. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't even know by heart. I mean, but I know we did a lot of tunes that we didn't. Well, we had a lot of songs also that we play
Mm-hmm.
that we either didn't record it for this project, and we recorded here at home just for fun or for the video. Some of the tunes that we did on the videos are not on the record,
Right.
and some
then there's a lot of
new
stuff.
tunes came in, you know, that are on the video. So yeah.
Well, and we're
So
touring
it's hard to choose,
now.
huh?
Like we're touring now, and so there's a whole bunch of stuff on the live show
Right.
that isn't on the album, because
Right.
our live show is like twice as long as the album. So
Totally.
come
Yeah.
see us live.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It is such a party. It's a total vibe. I don't know if anybody on this live is in Minneapolis, but we're going to be at the Dakota in Minneapolis on this coming Monday night, and then like a week and a couple days later, we're doing a whole run in Texas. So we'll be Austin, Houston, Garland, Lufkin. Am I missing one? Am I missing one? Or is that it?
Don't ask me, because you know I never know where we're going.
We're doing a whole run in Texas. So if you're in Minneapolis or you're in Texas, come see us. We'll be in your hood within the next couple weeks. And then in Florida later, like in like a month. And yeah, the live show is super fun. I have such a good time playing with you. Like, we've played together so much, but not just us and our own, like where we get to set the tone, and we're very different. So we're very different personalities. So I find it really fun. It's like, on the one hand, there's a lot of the time where I'm like, I'm so much more like classical and Korean and like organized. And so when I'm on stage with you, it feels really like spontaneous and improvised. And I'm like a little bit scared, but I also love it so much. And I'm
You
always,
like it.
it feels so good.
You like to be scared.
Yeah, I do.
That's what I tried to scare you. No,
guys,
it's a
like,
joke.
Leo Leo never plays the same thing twice ever. And there's just so many times when we're in a live show where I have no idea I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what's happening. And it's awesome. It's really,
we improvise. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. I mean, I know I have an idea, but it's nice when something happens in the music that surprises you. You know, when you're playing yourself. Sometimes I get surprised by myself, and for me, those are the precious moments in my own performance. If I can surprise myself with something, then I'm happy. You know, that's why most of the times I walk out of stage really happy, because that happens
you're
all the
always
time.
surprising yourself on stage.
No, but I mean, we surprise each other and we do different things, you know, and that's nice, you know. Otherwise it's kind of boring, I think, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean,
to do the same every day.
Yeah, no, this kind of ties into, one of the questions I got was, you guys have such different backgrounds. What have you learned from each other? And we talked a little bit earlier about, when we first started hanging out and sharing music and deciding what to play. Right. Part of what came into that was we have such different backgrounds, and we ended up sharing music with each other that the other one didn't know about.
Right.
But this is the same kind of thing, like you have, we do have very different backgrounds. I have a classical background, but I've done a lot of other kinds of music, and I've played pop and jazz and all sorts of things. But like, my foundation is very classical, and classical is very about sort of, you play what's written, you learn what's written, and you play that. And
right.
So it's very, very regimented. Can you tell people who are watching about your background?
Well, I started playing by ear when I was 5, because my brother used to play guitar. I have an older brother, and I don't remember really those days. Of course, it's a long time ago, and I was very little. But I remember myself already playing. Yeah, I don't have any memories of myself without the instrument, and I play every day.
Same,
You know,
same. I
yeah,
have
I
no
really
memories from
no,
before I played the violin.
really. But I never went to school. I never went to music school.
Mm.
I did went to school, of course, like every person does, or most persons, but not music. I studied architecture at the time when I was in high school, which is crazy, right? But I still like it. But anyway, I never really went to conservatory or never had any lessons. Well, I'm lying. I had a few lessons, maybe 2 or 3, with some,
Really?
yeah, with some friends in Uruguay, but not about guitar lessons. I had more like I wanted to learn theory. I wanted to learn, understand the names of the chords and to be able to read
Yeah.
music. And because I was playing, I didn't know I had no idea what I was doing. I was doing it, but I didn't know what a C major was, or a third, or a nine, or nothing, zero. It was
What? How old were you
when I
when you took?
learned. Uh, I think when I started learning, I was maybe 16 or something like that. 16, maybe 15, 16. Yeah, that's how I started to
You were
learn
playing from
the music.
ear entirely before that?
Yeah, completely. I had no idea, like
Wow.
nothing. Yeah. So, and I always started by myself after that. Of course, after that, I moved to Holland when I was 20, and then I never had lessons, but we learn all the time. I learned by watching other people, and also I was able then to read a little bit of music, so I could check some books, which I never really checked. There's no one book I checked the whole thing. I probably checked 3 or 4 pages of each book, and then I had enough material for a year, to work on things. So, but I mean, yeah, it's in that in that in that perspective, we have different backgrounds, but. But I wanted to add that I think our background is music
Yeah.
anyway, and no matter how we learn it, or I think our training is different. The way we were trained,
Yeah.
because I was training by myself by ear, and you were trained already from an early age in school, right?
Yeah.
So you were able to read music and everything when you were very little, which I wasn't.
I didn't
So
feel like I had that, like, I felt like I was trained to have a lot of skills, but then I I, I wasn't really like taught the like how to access the place of freedom where then you can then use all of the skills that you have to like make something new. And
right,
that's always been something, I've spent a lot of time now playing other kinds of music other than classical music, and that's always really the thing that really motivates me is like I want to take the skill set that I have and apply, like use it in the world and not feel like a little bit
right,
caged,
right,
especially like playing with you, because you directly, like when we are performing together or when we're recording together, anytime we're playing together, you are, I mean, like I said, you never play the same thing twice. Even sometimes, a lot of the time, we will talk about what we're going to do right before we do it, and then we do it and you do something else.
that's because
And
I'm
it's
getting old.
amazing.
I forget.
But that's what, so for me it's like so exciting because you create this environment where it's like my dream environment where I get to do exactly that thing. I get to take all, I show up with the skills that I have, and then you create this environment for us where it's totally free, and then I just have to like figure out how to use what I have to like to tell a story with you, which
Well, I
is
mean, it's not
yeah,
totally free,
cool.
of course. We playing the song. The thing is the way we playing the songs, or if I put a new chord somewhere that wasn't planned, none of the chords that I'm playing were planned. I'm actually playing the song. Yeah, I'm playing the composition. You know, that's what I like. I like to learn the tune
None
and then
of
just
the
play it.
chords I'm
Ah,
playing, we're playing.
what?
None of the chords I'm playing, we're playing. Leo Amuedo.
No, no, but we play in the structure of the song, of course, and that's always the same
Yeah.
structure. But within that structure, we have that freedom of it's like when you sing a melody, you never sing it the same way. You can phrase one note longer or shorter, or you know what I mean, or phrase it differently. Well, that's what I do when I comp. It's kind of the same thing, and it's nice. It makes it super fun, you know. I was never really. Uh, I wish I could learn. I wish I did have like classical lessons, maybe for a while, just for the technical aspect.
But you're
But it would be very hard for me to play the same thing all the time, reading a chart. I mean, I could do it, but it would be, and that's a good part of that because then you polish that part more and more. Every time you play, you make it better and better, even if you don't change anything. And so everything has you know a good thing in it. So yeah, it's we certainly have a good combination.
Have you learned anything from me?
A lot of things.
Really?
Absolutely.
The question
Yeah.
was.
Well, I learned a lot of things from you, not only from music, but also how you work and how professional you are, and how you know, I'm pretty easy normally. I'm like, it's not that I don't care about things. I do care a lot, but you know, I'm kind of in an easy mood always. Like you know, it's gonna be right. It's gonna be okay. We know what we're doing, and you're more focused into things, and I appreciate that because although sometimes we get like, but you know, but no, I mean, you know, it's important. I'm learning with you also to be focused on things and musically, of course, we always learn from each other, but also in other aspects, you know. Yeah, I learn from you. Absolutely.
Well, somebody had said Leo never seems to talk. What does his voice sound like? But now they know.
Oh, I talk a lot. Don't
Leo talks a lot.
too much sometimes.
Oh, Joe asked, that's so sweet. He said, "You're so original and brilliant. Who were your inspirations when you were kids?" Who was your? No, you go first.
Oh. You know, when I was a little kid, I only listened to the music that was played on the radio. You know, and in my house they had my parents had LP player, one of those really old schools. It was like a big furniture. You open, yeah, I think it's still there somewhere. And you know, it was in my memory it was huge, but I was very tiny, so maybe it wasn't huge. But yeah, really. But I remember like being super big, you know. So they would play records there. My father, my mother, my brother, and my brother. I remember my brother liked classical music a lot, so he would listen to Bach, Wagner, to Brahms, different kinds of stuff. And I remember some of that music really touched me when I was listening, when he was listening. The harmony, I could hear the strings. I loved that already. But then on the other hand, I was listening to the radio, and that's like pop music, Brazilian music, a lot of Brazilian stuff, of course, but also American pop. You know, that was mainly what the radio stations play at the time. So I played that. I didn't improvise. I didn't play. I probably played some melodies. I don't remember. I mostly comp play songs like the chords, and you know, I don't remember when I started improvising really. Maybe when I was 16, 17.
When did you get into like Paco de Lucia?
Oh yeah, well, then I get in touch with George Benson's music. Probably through the radio also because he was very big in the 80s. Still is, but that was his pick, you know. So they were playing all those songs like on Broadway and Breezing and all these incredible productions. And when I heard him playing, I was like, oh my God, that's it.
Yeah.
There's no way somebody can play better than this guy. I mean, for real. So I listened to George Benson for many years, only to him. Only. I didn't want to listen to anything else. But then, of course, slowly I started to know other people like Paco de Lucia, and then it blew my mind. Yeah. So, and I don't play flamenco. I mean, really. I mean, I can play a little bit with the taste of flamenco, also because I come from from Spanish family, but although flamenco is not really Spanish, it's more gypsy Spanish. But anyway, but yeah, Paco and Wes Montgomery, Paco de
Yeah.
Lucia and Wes Montgomery, and George Benson also, and Joe Pass. Those are probably my biggest influence. And then later on, Pat Metheny and John Scofield, of course, who I love.
Who we just met.
Yeah, that was so cool.
He watched our set. That was so
I was
amazing.
sitting like right, I was almost in the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Aww.
when he walked out, he was like, he asked me, "Did you watch the whole thing?" I was like, "I was sitting right here." He was like,
Well,
"Get
you
out of
watched
here!"
the set and he watched our set.
Yeah, he was such a nice guy. Oh my God,
We
that festival was an
that
experience with 3 nights at the Monterey. Oh my God,
was really fun.
I was sad when it was finished. Really, I wanted to stay like another month.
Aww. Also, yeah, I mean, I don't, as an audience member, I don't think that like festivals are my ideal way to experience music, like as an audience member, just because the sound is, we're always like outside and there's all this like
Right.
extra noise. Just, I feel like it's hard to like really hear things, and it's always sort of, I don't know. But that being said, this festival, I was like, they are doing it right up in here.
Yeah, very
That was
good.
so
Very well done.
they're fantastic. We had such a good time at Monterey, and like I really enjoyed watching other music there. And
Yeah,
I usually get
me too.
frustrated in a festival setting where I'm like, I can't hear, or like it's too confusing, you know. But there, I felt like it was super
Yeah,
intimate, and
it was. You're right, because although it was open, all of the stages were open, but ours was closed. I think it was the only one covered.
yeah,
But you could not really hear a lot of noise from other stages when you were watching a show, which is great. They did really a great job. Well, it was one of the best festivals in the world, you
yeah,
know.
it
So
was really so,
yeah, and the weather was great, and everybody, you know, people were so nice. I mean, really a great experience. Amazing. Yeah.
yeah. Um, who were my inspirations as when I was a kid? It's like Proman, obviously. It's like Proman, Pinka Zuckerman. I mean, that was when I was like little. I so I was born in New York, but I moved to Hawaii when I was like 5, and I was already playing the violin then, and I started studying with Kathy Lechtenberg, who at the time was the concertmaster of the Honolulu Symphony. And because of that, anytime the symphony had a violin soloist, my teacher, who was the concertmaster of the orchestra, would make it possible for me to meet them. And so I met Pinkas Zuckerman, I met Gil Shaham, I met Anna Kiko Myers, I met all these incredible concert violinists when I was like in elementary school. And they were definitely my major inspiration then. All the way up until I was like 17. I was just like classical concert violinist focused. And then
And
when I
that was
was,
in Hawaii. Was still in
yeah,
Hawaii. So
well,
you grew up.
I moved to Hawaii when I was 5,
Oh,
and then we moved back to New York when I was 11, because that's when I got into Juilliard.
oh, okay.
So then from 11 until, yeah, then I was in New York. But then when I was 17 and I went to actually go study with Tinka Zuckerman, which was crazy because he had been like one of my idols when I was a kid. That was around the same time that I, for the first time, heard Kind of Blue and Giant Steps.
Wow.
And also Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. And I had
Wow.
never heard
That's
any of that
like,
stuff before. Yeah. So I was just like, what? And then I would say, and still to this day, I mean, Miles has, that was the first time I heard Miles, and to this day it's just been solid, as like everything about that makes sense to me and inspires
oh
me.
yeah,
And
oh
yeah,
yeah.
just
Well, yeah, he inspires everybody. Even if, I mean, but I mean, you get the chance to listen to completely different music at the same time, like Pink Floyd and Kind of Blue. It's like completely. Yeah,
Right,
it's interesting. That's good.
right. And then
I
up
see. I
until
didn't
then,
have the chance. Huh?
up until that moment, having only listened to classical music.
Right. Well, but I get in touch with like Pink Floyd music or Led Zeppelin, all these groups way later.
Oh, really?
I mean, oh yeah. Like people would tell me like, can you play that solo from Jimmy Page? And I was like, who is Jimmy Page?
I was
I,
trying to play all those solos on the
I
violin.
had
That's
no
the thing too. When
idea.
I first heard Led Zeppelin, I literally learned all of the guitar solos on the
Yeah,
violin.
well, I mean, great. But I didn't know. I didn't know any of that music, like zero. And even like Jimi Hendrix, like I mean, I'm ashamed to say that, but people ask me about, can you play this song from Jimi Hendrix? I say, you know what? I love Jimi Hendrix, but I never really listened that much. I grew up listening to other stuff,
Yeah.
which for me was, but put it that way, we come, well, you're much younger than me. Well, I come from an era in which we didn't have cell phones, no YouTube, no internet. So we were depending on whatever played on the TV, or when the VHS came,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody would travel and come back with a music video, then we all get together and watch it. That's the first time I watched George Benson. I didn't even know how George Benson looked like. And I was
Wow.
listening for years to him.
Wow.
You know, it's a
Yeah.
different time.
Yeah.
Now people can get access to everything, but I don't know if it was better or worse. It was just
Yeah.
different. But
Different. Mm-hmm.
I had some friends that listened to rock and stuff, but I was never really attached to rock music. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
there was something in there that now I like it more, much more. But when I was a kid, I was like, I don't like this.
Mm.
It sounded like a lot of noise to me. Sorry for the rock musicians, but I love rock now. I
So
mean,
you were
of
like a
course.
cool teenager. You were listening to like Jobim and like Gilberto.
No, no. I wasn't a cool teenager. I was like a rock and roll teenager, but I didn't like rock music that much. I was more, I don't know, I like Joe Pass, George Benson. I was more into that kind of sound, guitar
Mm.
sound,
Cool.
and also, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
and classical, I like classical music a lot. I don't know anything about names or pieces. It's so complicated. Like the name Opus One, Opus Two, Opus whatever. I have no idea. I'm an ignorant, but I like the music. I always did. Harmony, when I hear harmony.
Yeah.
I remember my brother listening to Brahms, and I was like, wow, that sounds so good. The strings. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in my memory,
Right?
I was really, huh?
Drums can write some strings.
Yeah,
Yeah, good at that stuff. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, but he was listening to other stuff. But yeah, we come from different backgrounds, technically, but we
Yeah.
come from the same background, which is music,
Yeah.
and it's all the same. At the end
True.
of the day, it's the same thing, right?
That's,
I mean,
yeah.
but
Okay. Let me go through some of these other questions. Do you prefer smaller or larger venues, or neither, or both?
I prefer smaller. Yeah, like the ones we do normally, about 500 people. That's my favorite amount of people. I think I have the impression that we can get closer to the audience. Well, in
Mm-hmm.
fact, we are much closer to the audience than when we play on a 2,000 people
Yeah.
venue. Uh, it's also more challenging for me, I think. I feel a little more, I don't feel nervous anymore,
In a
but I feel a little more itchy when I go on stage and it's a small
space.
place. And I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And you?
I mean, I don't dislike larger venues. Like
No,
I
me
like
neither.
a size theater, or I definitely, like, if we're comparing like theaters and like arenas or something like that, like I just don't love, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite to play in those big, like anything that's that big. I mean, number one, same as why I don't love like festivals. It's just like, from an audience perspective, I don't think that they have the best quality of sound. Like, it doesn't sound that great to like listen to music in like a big concrete square.
Right.
But then yeah, there's that thing saying, where you're so far, you feel so far away from the audience. It's just like a very different experience
Yeah,
that,
absolutely,
taller,
absolutely.
you can have the sense that you can like look out and you feel like you are direct, you're making eye contact with people. You feel like you're really connecting with people in real time. Once a venue is like past a certain size, you don't see any eyes. Like you are not seeing any, you're not looking at any individual person. It's
Yeah.
just like a sea of,
Yes,
well,
that's
that's a little,
right. I feel the exact way is exactly what I felt the few times. I didn't play a lot of times in arenas, but I did a few things with some artists that I work with, and it's exactly that. It's like
yeah.
it's like you are pretty much alone there in a way. Although there are thousands of people watching you,
Yeah.
but the
But it's almost like
feeling is
when the venue's really big, the audience becomes like one organism.
yeah,
They become like one thing instead of a bunch of individuals. And I like that feeling
absolutely,
of
absolutely,
playing for individuals and connecting with individuals, you know.
yeah.
Um,
You my first experience with that was when I was living in Holland. I was working. I worked with for many years with Trent Osterhaus, my dear friend, singer, great singer, and she was invited to play at the wedding of who today is the queen, the king of
of Holland?
Holland. At the time, yeah, now he's the king, but at the time he was a prince, Alexander.
Okay.
So she was invited to play on that
You
wedding
played at
party, which
the
was
royal
yeah.
wedding?
So check this out. It was in the Ajax. Ajax is a football team from Amsterdam, very popular. So they put a stage in the middle of the field,
Did they have the
and
wedding on a football field?
no, the wedding was somewhere else, but the
Okay.
party was
Right.
there was a lot of shows, different artists playing for the royal family and all the guests. But there were a lot of people. So what they did is they put a stage in the middle of the field, football field, right? And on what where people go watch the football, that's what the audience were like. So a quarter of one of the size, which is a lot of people, thousands of people. I
Yeah.
don't know how many people. And
Yeah.
I thought to myself, this is gonna be. I remember my feelings before. I was like, and it was duo. We played one song live. So I was a little nervous because I felt like I
Was
can't
it
make any mistakes.
slow?
This is gonna be. It was on national TV
Yeah.
everywhere. So I was like, oh my god, and I was kind of like tense,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But then when we got there and they woke us and no rehearsals. Like at the time there was no rehearsals with like now people rehearse with cameras and we just didn't rehearse it there at all. We just we walking into the stadium and we are like, holy moly. So we sit there. I sit on the chair and Trench is next to me. And when I look at the audience, I didn't see anything.
Right.
It was like a black thing. So so in a second, I thought like, oh, okay, it feels like it's just me and her here.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
just play, and it was great. And when they clap, it was you could not even hear a clap. It was like,
That's weird, dude.
yeah. And then we walked out, and that's it. It was super easy.
Did they feed you?
What's that?
Did you get good food at the royal wedding?
Oh, oh yeah. No, I mean these people are great. We get letters from the Queen at the time, and
That's so
yeah,
crazy.
and they came to our show. Not Alexander, but his brother and his wife, and not the other prince, came to our show a few times. Trenchy knows them really well. They're really good people.
Wow.
I mean, very nice. I mean, it's the royal family, and it's funny. Now I'm talking about something else, but these people, when you treat these people normal, like I treat everybody the same, and Trench is the same. You're the same, and they love it. You know,
Oh,
and so they were really sweet. Yeah, it was a great experience
yeah.
actually. And now he's the queen.
He's the king.
The king, sorry. He's the king. Yeah,
Yeah. That's awesome.
which means nothing to me anyway, but it's good. I play for the king.
Leo, do you have a favorite song from our new album?
Oh, that's great. That's a hard one. All of the songs are my favorites, but I love Embraceable You.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love the way you sing that. I love the way you sing everything, but that one
I love your
It's,
on that.
but I also enjoy playing Tico Tico with you, everything. Brasileño, all these up-tempo tunes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Embraceable, time after time. It's beautiful.
Time after
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know that I have a favorite song.
It's hard, right, to choose one song.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like going back to the other question, it's like I feel like there were so many songs that I love that didn't make it on this album because we had too much stuff.
Right.
You know, I already feel bad about all of those. Like, there've been so many times where I think that some other songs that I love playing with you are on this album, and then I'm like, oh no, it's not there.
I know. It's tough. I know. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah. So I don't.
Or when we have to play a shorter set, like in Monterey, and we have to take songs off the set. It's so hard.
I know.
It's terrible.
It's
I
so
don't know. I
funny
really don't know.
because usually people are like concerned about making their show long enough to fill the time, and we have so much material.
We can't play everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do on our show, on our normal show. But
Even
on
in our
those,
show, we still don't play anything. But anyway, let's see. Do we have all of these questions are all the answer is the same. Do we have plans to visit the UK? No, but we'd like to make some plans.
or
Let's make New York, New Jersey. We thought we were going to come to New York, but hopefully we will reschedule that soon. It's ridiculous. We haven't been out there. We have so many friends and family and stuff out on the East. Ann Arbor, hopefully soon. Apparently there's like a jazz scene in Ann Arbor. Did you know about that, Leo?
no, honestly,
This is what
and sorry for my honesty, I don't even know where that is.
it's in Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. Okay.
Michigan has all the lakes.
Right. Oh, yes, of course. I don't remember being there. Maybe I did, but yeah, we should go. Yeah, so many
Yo, I want
cities.
to go to Ann Arbor.
Huh?
I want to go to Ann Arbor, and people are asking about Europe and Virginia, and obviously so many people asking about like Argentina and Brazil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The answer is we're working on it.
Yeah.
We want to come see you guys super bad, so
Well, if it's up to us, we will go everywhere. But you know, people have to understand that it's a whole process of, you know, it's
cool.
It's a little bit out of our hands in a way. We would love to play everywhere, you know.
Yeah,
but
we'll make it happen. Work with us. We'll
yeah,
make it happen.
well, we're gonna make it happen for sure.
Awesome. Like, you know, we definitely ask and ask people. You know, request us. We'll come. We're listening, and we love all. Yeah, someone's asking about Virginia as well. Someone's asking if my baby is touring.
If
Baby,
your baby's touring?
my baby has toured quite a bit with us, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Baby has come on the road quite a bit.
It's very.
I would say it's like 90%, 80%, 85, 90% of our shows he's been at. Yeah. So
Yes.
he's gonna play bass soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a bass.
I know you are, or a guitar. After seeing Herbie in Monterey, I need to get him a guitar. I need to get my baby a guitar because Herbie was so cool with the guitar. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Someone is asking, have you released Eyes to the Horizon from Tremaine? No, did not release that, and I don't know, that song didn't make it onto any of the Tremaine soundtracks, which is a bummer. I really liked that song. So no, I'm sorry. I guess that was a moment. That was a moment on the show only. Let's see what other questions. What's next, Leo? That's my last question. What's next for us?
Well, we're going to Dakota Jazz, right? In a week.
That is literally what's next, is Minneapolis.
And yeah, a bunch of shows in Texas. And I don't remember it by heart, honestly. but I know what we're doing in the next couple of weeks. But we have a lot of more concerts coming out in December.
Yeah.
A lot of surprise for next year, and yeah, I mean, a lot of things are happening for sure. I mean, remember we started touring. We didn't even have a record when we started touring. It's amazing,
Yeah, it is
and we
amazing.
did it. We did great. We
Yeah.
did probably more than, I don't know how many shows we did this year. Probably like 50 shows or something like that.
We've done a lot of shows, and it's
That's a lot of shows,
been
and very nice, very nice, very nice reaction from the audience and everything.
the audiences have been amazing, and like, yeah, I'm so happy that, you know, this kind of circles back to how we started this conversation, talking about the way that we recorded this record and how it was kind of this old school vibe, and also the way that our project started was super organic. Like, I'm coming over and we're
Yeah,
just hanging out, listening to music, and then being like, oh, we like this song, and everything is just like organic and old school. And I think like one of the things that we do have in common is that we kind of gravitate, whatever style it is, I think we both gravitate towards. It's not a genre of music, it's just, you know, because it can be any style. It can be classical music, it can be jazz, it can be Brazilian, it can be Americana, it can be like folk tunes, but just the kind of music that like makes you feel like cozy, you know, where you want to sort of get cozy and like put on headphones, or like make yourself a nice meal, or like, you know, like have a glass of wine, or like be with someone that you love, and just this music that like makes you feel warm and makes you want to like share some time with people. I mean, and not to say that all music doesn't do that, but I don't think all music necessarily
no,
does that. I think it's for a lot
no,
of different things, and like
yeah,
I think
different purposes. Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
And so I
It
think
depends on
like
the style, but yeah,
I,
I'm with you. I'm sad. We feel the same way.
yeah. And I think that's kind of like an old school vibe. Like there's a lot of old jazz records and like Brazilian records that I feel like have that vibe, you know, where it's like as soon as I hear like the first track of the record, I just like, oh, I'm like, let me make a cocktail and like sit down, and you know, and it's like I love that vibe, and I think that we captured that on our record, and
Oh,
I
yeah,
think we totally capture that in our live show,
yeah,
and that's so fun because I mean, we have both played thousands of shows in a million different contexts. You know, we both worked with tons of artists and played our own shows in a lot of different ways. This is like, and of course, we're always trying to like create a vibe. You know, I was always trying to create a vibe. I'm always going to try to create a vibe. I think it's my job. Like, if you're coming to see and I'm performing,
right.
like, it's like I'm hosting, like, I'm inviting you into my living room, like, I'm inviting you into my
Oh,
house. Of course, I'm going to cook for you. Like, I'm not going to not make a vibe, or at least try. But
right.
I think our live shows have, I think we have that like old school, like, it reminds me of, you know, the records that I love, or like
Yeah,
the old videos from like the 60s that I find on YouTube, and I see these concerts and I'm like, oh, it's just cool and
yeah,
cozy, and I think we have that. So it's been so fun
yeah.
touring with you.
I agree with you. I think we got that really down, and also because it's a minimalist in a way show, because it's just you and me. But now we have percussion also, but in some of the tunes. But uh, uh, it's interesting that, in fact, this when you put a whole band on a stage, it's still possible to get that vibe, but it's very tricky. Everybody has to be very sync in the band and play as minimum as possible to add thing. But it's just you and me, and sometimes we sound like a whole orchestra.
I mean,
But
I'm thinking about this though, and I wonder if maybe part of the reason the vibe has been so cool in our live shows is because there are very few of us on
yeah,
stage, and you know, it's not like we're just creating the vibe. Like, that's us working with, we are working with whoever is there, you know, like if you go out to a show, you are participating in the show.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't say anything, even if you don't do anything, you bring your energy there, you're participating. And like I've been thinking about that where I'm like, you know, there are some bands that have like 15 people on stage. When you have like a lot happening on stage, or you have like a big light show or a ton of production or whatever, like how much room is there really like left
Right.
for the audience?
Yeah, it's hard. It's
You know, and for
it's
us,
like, you know, it's like having a conversation. I always like to make compare situations. But imagine we're sitting on a table, you and me, and we're having a conversation, and it's just you and me. That's going to be very focused and very intense because it's just you and me. So when
yeah.
you talk, I listen. When I talk, you listen. But if you have a conversation in a table with 10 people,
Mm-hmm.
unless everybody's like super uh, cool and relaxed and educated and whatever, you know what I mean? It's going to be kind of a mess. You know what I mean? It's not, you're going to lose, not a mess, but you're going to lose probably that intimacy
Mm-hmm.
in the conversation because it's a lot of people. And in a big band, you can still do that if you hear each other really well, which is a challenge also. Because sometimes when you play with a big band, like you have done that, me too,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I play here and the piano player is on the other side of the stage.
Right.
And although I'm hearing what he's playing on my monitor or my in-ear, but he's physically so far away from me that that distance already changed the whole thing in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And now our show is that we're so close,
Yeah. But I do like,
you know?
you know, the audience is so close too, and the audience is
Yeah,
involved. It,
exactly. It's the whole thing
so much.
it works towards this intimacy and cozy
Yeah.
moment, right? With the
Yeah.
audience as well. I agree,
Yeah.
totally.
It's like we're all cooking together.
Yeah,
Um, last question somebody just wrote, and I'm sorry if I've missed any questions. It's hard. It's
I
really
don't,
hard.
I don't
Like,
even know how to see the questions. I'm sorry, guys. I'm terrible with this.
we have
They have to scroll.
a program, and I can't scroll and listen at the same time. But somebody
Oh,
did ask for a funny moment or a funny story from stage, and I'm like, one. Like, there's so many. Do you want to tell? I would be curious to see what you thought was funny on stage, because I wonder if when there's funny moments, if the other one actually thinks it's funny.
that's right. No, honestly, I don't remember any funny. I mean, we laughed a lot during the show. We have a lot of funny moments, but because we are so relaxed and spontaneous, and we make jokes and people laugh, it's fun. But I don't remember a funny situation that something really weird happened. Do you remember anything? I don't know.
Um, I remember that I forget where we were. I remember people were asking for an encore, and I I thought I thought that I thought that you and I had talked for a sec about it, but
Oh, that's right. That's right.
you did not. I think that, yeah, we both were standing there and we were both talking to each other, but I think we completely crossed wires, because then you started playing and it was not the song that I thought we were going to play, and I
That's
didn't.
right. That's right. That was
But
interesting.
it
I'm
was
playing
very
an intro,
crazy.
like completely concentrated. And
And
when
you
I
were
look at
like
you, you
pulling
are like,
and yeah, and then you were looking at me like, okay, okay, like come in, and I'm just like, I have
what song are you
no
playing?
idea what you're playing.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
I mean,
funny.
that happens a fair amount of times, but I just fake it better.
Yeah.
Usually I figure it out. But that time I just couldn't figure it out. I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't remember which song it was, but that's cool. But I mean, after that, we did it and it was great anyway.
Yeah. Oh, Cassie's here. Thank you guys all so much for joining us and hanging out with me and Leo. Oh, any plans for the DC area? Hopefully soon. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss any super awesome questions, but it's so difficult to so difficult to scroll. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. And yeah, the record is out. Do you want to tell everybody where it is, how to pronounce the title? What does it mean, Leo? What does saudade mean?
Saudade. Well, saudade would be in Portugal, they would say saudade. In Brazil, saudade.
Right. I've been saying it's
Yeah,
saudade.
that's a Brazilian Portuguese way of saying it. It means a lot of things, but basically uh, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to translate that word.
Well, that's why
But it's like when you, huh?
is because that's why I loved it, is because there is no translation, there's no English translation for that word.
Right,
And the meaning
right.
of that is like, I mean, you tell me, because like when I looked it up, I was like, this is exactly, these are all of the feelings that I feel all the time about music.
Well, it's like melancholy, and when you miss a friend or you miss a place or you miss your hometown, you say, "I have saudade," which is a
Mm-hmm.
feeling that within that feeling, there's a lot of feelings involved.
Mm-hmm.
A place you want to come back,
Mm-hmm.
or a time in your life that you remember, and you go like, "Wow, I had such a good time. I remember. I wish I could go back. I have saudades of that time." You know. But it's not necessarily a sad
No,
feeling.
no.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It actually it's not a sad feeling. It's actually like a nice
yeah,
feeling. It's not like you're sad because you're missing somebody.
yeah.
You just miss somebody. You wish, I say, oh, I miss that person, so
Yeah,
or whatever. It's about that, more or less. I'm not really really good at explaining things. I think you understood that very well
yeah,
when
when
you told me.
I was researching that word, and I just became obsessed with it, because I was like, there's no direct English translation, but it's, yes, it's
Right.
like Rustin Head is that. Yeah, it's sort of like, if you look it up, you'll see it's like kind of like nostalgia. It can also be, it can be used in place of the word love, but it's not like specific, it can be romantic love, but it's not always romantic love. And it can be melancholic, but it's not always
Yeah,
sad. It's just like
nostalgia. That's more like a nostalgia thing.
but sometimes
But
it's like
nostalgia
expressing
can be sad also. So that is you don't get really sad. Yeah, but it's what you're saying. That's
and
what it
I had
is.
like read that it can be described as like a yearning or a longing, like you're
Yeah,
longing for something. So it feels almost like a heart being full,
yeah,
rather than
yeah.
heart being like cracked
It's
or
like I don't
something.
see you now for a week, so I have a lot of saudades of you.
Aww. But I feel like all the music that we play and all the music that we like and that we want to play, there's some way that it's like connected to that. There's a lot of music that we play that are sort of like old classics
Yeah,
that we are putting our own twist on. And so it's kind of a way of like being nostalgic and looking back at the past, but like, with this younger sort of love, like our love for that music
right.
is younger than the music
Totally.
is, right? And then there's also just, I mean, there's just a whole bunch of love songs on our album, all different kinds of love that's going good, love that's going not so good, love between animals, like love between parent and child, like all sorts of love. So it just seemed like the perfect word. But anyway,
It
said
is, yeah. It is.
that.
Well chose.
It's available everywhere, streaming. Also, if you are old school, OG style, and you like CD players, we have physical copies. We will sign them for you. We will send them to your door. Right now, you can get them on my website, but soon you'll be able to get them on Leo's website too.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he has
Yes.
doing all of his shipping for him. And yeah, and thank you for joining us, and come see us on the road soon. Uh, Tell us what you think of the record, and if we should very soon release Saudade Part 2, which is like all of the songs that didn't make it on this record, of which there are many.
Not a bad idea.
I mean, we have also recorded so much more material than is actually out.
Right.
Like we have so much stuff.
Yes.
So
Some news coming up soon, but first let's concentrate on this new baby.
oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the
This
not my baby.
CD, yeah. We have so many songs that we want to record and put out
Yeah.
on the future CD, or recordings. Absolutely. It's gonna happen.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us. Mwah. We love you guys. Leo, good night. I love
Good
you.
night. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.